Leading Ladies, an African podcast on historical women leaders. The assumption in our past has been women were not leaders in promoting eco-justice. In reality, women led and planned for a more sustainable future for their communities. Meet Nangoma, the Rainmaker. Nangoma was born around 1840 and was the oldest child of Nachibeta, sister to Chona Mpati Chepa Benzu Mwinga, who established a popular settlement at Nampeo in present-day southern province of Zambia. As a young woman, Nangoma fell in love with a young Mweto man whom she wanted to marry, but her people refused to allow the marriage. Shortly after, she had a spiritual experience, and from then on, her perspective prioritized the care of the earth, of nature, and of people. Nangoma became a quiet woman who inspired confidence, and she was known for her good sense and counsel. Many people spoke very highly of her, with great respect and affection. The people saw Nangoma's wisdom as an asset. Thereafter, whenever the people wanted to pray for rain, they prayed through Nangoma to the rain spirit Malembwe to grant them their request. Nangoma came to be regarded as a leader of her people, her prestige vested primarily upon her power to interact with the natural world, to make rain and to heal. Nangoma understood above all that an environment with healthy regenerating plants, water, and animal life was necessary for a community to have stable families, peaceful lives, prosperity, adequate food, and security. Nangoma married Hamangelwa Chimuka and bore him 4 sons and 3 daughters. She separated from her husband and went to live in her own village known as Makamba by 1888. Because Nangoma knew a lot about the ecology of her environment, she managed her pastoral communities through a lens of permaculture or sustainable agriculture by practicing holistic community grazing of their livestock. This in turn supported the well-being of the environment, animals, plants, and soils, thus keeping the surrounding biodiversity a viable resource for all living things. Nangoma initiated the Lwindi agricultural celebration ceremony at her village called Chovana. This underpinned her effective stewardship of the natural vegetation, agricultural crops, water sources, land health, and animals. In time, all management of the land depended on her powers and leadership because the plants, animals, and soils became linked to her for their health, growth, and fertility by the people. Nangoma regulated the celebrations of the Lwindi and the rituals of agriculture for all Nampeo, telling people when they should start each phase of agricultural work. When Chona Mpati died, her brother Nakambula succeeded him at Nampeo. But Nangoma was more influential as the people of Nampeo looked to her for leadership in times of drought and for protection from epidemics and other social ills. In 1893, a smallpox epidemic broke out and Nangoma saved many lives, treating them with her own traditional medicine and allowing those who wanted to go to the doctor at the nearby clinic to do so, and many more who did so died than those who remained and were treated by her. Unlike in the other villages, only 2 people died of smallpox at Nampeo. In 1919, an influenza epidemic broke out and Nangoma worked tirelessly and saved a number of lives, although many people died. For Nangoma, community went beyond humans to include the animals and plants. She knew how to treat and protect cattle from various illnesses. When she heard of cattle illness in the community, she would go and dig for medicines, crush and place the medicine in a big wooden trough, which was then filled with water. She would then instruct the people to herd the cattle in the hills until they were very thirsty. This made certain that when the cattle were brought back to the village, they would go straight to the troughs and drink as much of the medicine as possible. Thus, the people's cattle were protected by her medicine. Nangoma also kept a snake that lived in the doorway of her house, which she did not allow to be killed. Namukamba, the second son of Nangoma, was chosen to inherit Nakambula Chona Mupati sometime in the 1890s. Namukamba died in the smallpox epidemic of 1927. He was therefore leader of Nampeo for over 30 years, but he never quite acquired the power or ritual authority of Chona Mupati, and instead the people recognized the leadership of Nangoma. Nangoma died in 1925, and after her death, it reigned for nearly 2 weeks without a break. Her son Chobona then took over the role of leading the people in the Lwindi celebrations. Nangoma's shrine still stands at Chobona village, and every year in November, the Lwindi Lwawulongo rain prayer ceremony is held there before the rains. Thereafter, each village holds a Lwindi celebration for the next weeks. Women's ecological stewardship has contributed and impacted social justice and environmental well-being for centuries.